Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shamte Jai Pataka Swaminati Namne Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gorakatha Dhamdaya Nagar Gram Tarni Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shamate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvisesh Sunyavadi Paschat Desh Dharne Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter Madhya Leela, chapter 11, text 209. Last time it was all about prasadam. So how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fed all the devotees with a lot of prasadam. Nana Pita Pana Kaya Akanta Puriya Madhye Madhye Hari Kahe Ananditahana. They ate all kinds of cakes and sweet rice, filling themselves up to their throats at intervals. I think we finished this. Brahma Bhuyayaka. Bhojana Samapta Haila Kaila Achamana Sabare Paraila Prabhu Malya Chandana. After everyone had finished his lunch and washed his mouth and hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally decorated everyone with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. So that's a very nice.
What's the verse number, Mataji?
Putting flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. Page number 719. Verse is 210. Now I'm doing 211. Vishrama karite sabe nija vasa gela sandhya kale asi puna prabhu ke milila. After thus accepting prasadam, they all went to take rest at their respective residences. And the evening they again came to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hena kale Ramananda aila prabhu stane prabhu mila illa tanre sabha vaishnava gane. At this time, Ramananda Raya also came to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Lord and took the opportunity to introduce him to all the Vaishnavas. So recently Ramananda had joined after his South India tour. During the South India tour, and after that, this is the first time they're coming. So he is introducing. Sabalana Gela Prabhu Jagannathalaya Kirtana Arambha Tata Kaila Mahasaya. The great personality of God, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then took all of them to the temple of Jagannath and began the congregational chanting of the holy name there. Sandhya Dhupa Dekhi Arambhila Sankirtana Padicha Asisa Bhari Dhila Malya Chandana. After seeing the Dhupa Arati of the Lord, they all began congregational chanting. Then the Padicha, the superintendent of the temple, came and offered flower garlands and sandalwood pulp to everyone, as welcoming them, maybe, or no, flower garlands. Chari Diki Chari Sampradaya Kare na Kirtana Madhya Nritya Kare Prabhu Sachira Nandana. 4 parties were then distributed in 4 directions to perform Sankirtana, and in the middle of them, the Lord himself, known as the son of Mother Sachi, began to dance. Ashtamridhanga Baje Batrisa Karatala Haridwani Kare Sabi Bhala Bhala Bhala. In the 4 groups, there were 8 mridangas and 32 cymbals. My God, it must have been uproarious cymbals. 32 cymbals and 8 mridangas. Must have been so loud. All together, they began to vibrate the transcendental sound, and everyone said, very good, very good. Kirtanera Dhvani Maha Mangala Utila Chaturdasha Loka Bhari Brahmanda Vedila. Tumultuous vibration of Sankirtana resounded, all good fortune immediately awakened, and the sound penetrated the whole universe through the 14 planetary systems. So that is a spiritual sound. And so, and when the tumultuous vibration of the Sankirtana resounded, all good fortune immediately awakened. And the sound penetrated the whole universe through the 14 planetary systems. So the sound, I mean, we're all connected that way, sound travels. So this is a special thing. Like how, I mean, it went there, everywhere, all over the universe. So I mean, materially also, there must be, I mean, we don't know those advanced systems of, I mean, we know loudspeaker, or we know how to now relay sound through the, I mean, radio and, all these, I mean, television and all that across the globe, we are able to transmit sound. And so maybe it is possible that the sound went all over the universe. Kirtana arambe prema uttali chalila nila chala vasi lokha dhana aila. When the congregational chanting began, ecstatic love immediately overflooded everything, and all the residents of Jagannath Puri came running. Imagine, the whole universe could hear, so naturally the whole of Jagannath Puri also heard, and they all came running to hear it. Kirtana dekhi sabhara mane haila chamatkara kabbu nahi dekhi aiche premera vikara. Everyone was astonished to see such a performance of Sankirtana, and they all agreed that never before had Kirtana been so performed, and ecstatic love of God had so exhibited. Because this was pure sound only aimed at pleasing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were just glorifying him and singing with so much devotion and sincerity. And so they had such ecstatic, and actually being with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they must have been an ecstatic love. Tabe Prabhu Jagannatera Mandira Bhediya Pradakshina Kari Bulena Nartana Kariya. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu circumambulated the temple of Jagannath and continuously danced about the whole area. Aage pache ghana kare chari sampradaya achadera kale dhare nityanandaraya. As the circumambulation was performed, the 4 Kirtan parties sang in front and in the rear. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down to the ground, Sri Nityananda Prabhu lifted him up. Ashru Pullaka Kampa Sweda Gambira Hunkara Premere Vikara Deki Loke Chamatkara. While Kirtana was going on, there was a transformation of ecstatic love and much tears, jubilation, trembling, perspiration, and deep resounding in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Upon seeing this transformation, all the people present became very much astonished, because it was so heartfelt, so intense. We can imagine how much the holy name can penetrate our hearts. What we are hearing is like, say, offensive chanting, shadow of the holy name. The pure holy name brings about such great transformations in the body. Pichkari dhara jini ashunayane chari dikera loka sabha karaye sinani. The tears from the eyes of the Lord came out with great force like water from a syringe. Indeed, all the people who surrounded him were moistened by his tears. So that is another very special thing. Even devotees, they somebody said that when Prabhupada once, they just, I think it was Vishnu Jana Maharaj. He had, in an interview, like he said that once he was just peeped early morning, they were leaving for some place. So they wanted to take leave of Prabhupada. This was in Los Angeles temple. And Prabhupada had a separate room. And so they went, he and 2 other devotees, they went and they just peeped into his room because they didn't want to disturb him. They didn't know. Early morning, he might be doing japa or whatever. So they peeped and they saw, there were, I mean, it's mentioned in that book, Radha Damodara book, you know, some big effulgence, great light in that room. And Prabhupada was looking there at in that direction, and he was crying. And that water from his eyes was coming out like syringe. You know, so this is one special spiritual crying, tears coming out, you know, horizontally. Veda Nritya Mahaprabhu Kari Katakshana Mandirera Pache Rahi Karai Kirtana. After circumambulating the temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for some time remained at the rear of the temple and continued his Sankirtana. Chari Dike Chari Sampradaya Uchaiswari Gaya Madhya Tandava Nritya Kare Gauraraya. On all four sides, the four Sankirtana groups chanted very loudly. And in the middle, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced, jumping high. Bahu Kshana Nritya Kari Prabhu Stira Haila. Chari Mahantare Tabe Nachite Agnya Dila. After dancing for a long time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became still and ordered four great personalities to begin to dance. Eka Sampradaye Nache Nityananda Raye, Advaita Acharya Nache Are Sampradaye. In one group, Nityananda Prabhu began to dance, and in another group, Advaita Acharya began to dance. Ara Sampradaye Nache Pandita Vakreshwara, Srivasa Nache Ara Sampradaya Bhitara. Vakreshwara Pandit began to dance in another group, and in yet another group, Srivas Thakur began to dance. मध्य रही महाप्रभु करेना दर्शना तहा एक ऐश्वर्य तान रहाइला prakatana. While this dancing was going on, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu watched them and performed a miracle. Chari dike nritya gita kare yata jana sabe deke prabhu kare amare darshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stood in the middle of the dancers, and all the dancers in all directions perceived that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at them. Just like the deity in the temple, so many people are coming to see the deity, and everybody thinks the deity is looking at them. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also made a miracle that everyone thought he was looking at them. Chari janera nritya dekite prabhura abhilasha seiya abhilasha kare aishwarya prakasha. Wanting to see the dancing of the four great personalities, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited this miracle of seeing everyone. So in the four directions, the four groups were there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to see all of them at the same time. So all the people who were all around, they all felt Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at them. So how is that possible? But that is what transcendental. It was like he was able to see in all directions, and so everybody thought that he is looking at me, even those who were standing behind him. Darshane aveshatandra deki matra jane, kemane chaudi ke deke ihana hi jane. Everyone who saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that he was performing a miracle, but they did not know how it was that he could see on all four sides. Pulina bojane yena Krishna madhyastane, chaudi kera saka kahe amara nehane. In his own pastimes in Vrindavana, when Krishna used to eat on the bank of the Yamuna and sit in the center of his friends, every one of the cowherd boys would perceive that Krishna was looking at him. In the same way, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu observed the dancing, everyone saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was facing him. Just like Krishna. Krishna was sitting in the center and everyone felt that Krishna was looking at him. Nritya karite ye aise sannidhane, Mahaprabhu kare tanri drida alingane. When someone came nearby while dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tightly embrace him. Imagine while dancing also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace them, and upon seeing the great dancing, great love, and great Sankirtana, all the people of Jagannath Puri floated in an ecstatic ocean of love. Hearing the greatness of the Sankirtana, King Prataprudra went up to the top of his palace and watched the performance with his personal associates. The king was very much astonished to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kirtana, and the king's anxiety to meet him increased unlimitedly. After the Sankirtana ended, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu watched the offering of flowers to Lord Jagannath deity. Then he and all the Vaishnavas returned to his residence. The superintendent of the temple then brought large quantities of prasadam, which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally distributed to all the devotees. Finally, they all departed to rest in bed. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Sachi Mata, performed his pastimes. As long as the devotees remained at Jagannath Puri with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the pastime of Sankirtana was performed with great jubilation every day. So this was their whole agenda for the day. Come in the morning, have darshan of Jagannath, then have this big kirtan, then go have lunch, then take rest, and then come again in the evening for Sankirtana and go back to sleep. In this way, I've explained the Lord's pastimes of Sankirtana, and I bless everyone with this benediction. By listening to this description, one will surely become a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's amazing. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padeyara Asa Chaitanya Charitramrita Kare Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So I have to get the other book because this book, Madhya Leela 11, is over. But we see how much importance Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving. First, we saw the prasadam and the service of feeding other devotees, doing seva to them, and being very watchful about what the devotees wanted, and serving Vaishnavas. These are the two things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. And the next one is Sankirtana, chanting holy names. In the Kulina Grama, whenever from there the Vaishnavas came and they would ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how to advance in our devotional service. And he would always say, chant Hare Krishna mantra and serve the Vaishnavas. All Vaishnavas. First time he said, even anybody who even chants once the name of Krishna is a devotee and you must serve him. And second time he said, anyone who's like a Madhyama Adhikari or who's a preacher, you can know a Vaishnava by the number of devotees is preached to. So like that, he said, Madhyama Adhikari, you should serve. And third time when they asked, he said, third year, again they asked the same question. And because when he said serve the Vaishnavas, they asked, how do we recognize who's the Vaishnava? Because they didn't have ISKCON and all, and standard things like that. So anybody could be a Vaishnava. So how do I recognize? So first time he said, even if they're just chanting once the name of Krishna, they are devotee. Or if they are if they are preaching. And the third is just by seeing them, Uttam Adhikari, so exalted, simply by seeing him only everyone wants to chant. So all these three levels of devotees you must serve and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then we'll make all progress. And what is progress? I mean, of course, we should read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam because that sustains us. But the goal of reading, learning, everything, or performing devotional activities is simply to develop our service mood and our relationship with Krishna and to love him. That is the only goal of life. That is all perfection. And imagine, this is the highest goal of life or ever achievable or possible for all of humanity. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give everyone. And because it's such a valuable thing, people cannot understand it. They think, okay, love of God. Now I want my immediate concern. Will I get a job? Will I get married? Will I this? That is more important. About love of God and all. Okay, it's very nice. So there are no takers. No, people, because this is very valuable, not easily understandable. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very clever. He gave a method which is attractive to everyone. Prasadam, dancing, singing. That everyone likes. But they don't know what is behind that, what all it can do to you. Transform your consciousness from, bodily consciousness to elevating our consciousness to more spiritual, wanting spiritual happiness. That's the biggest miracle that happens, isn't it? Prabhupada also, he made such miracles. People very, very materialistic, most fallen, also suddenly, just by being with the devotees and also taking part in the kirtan, having prasadam, they totally changed. And they understood that I'm not the body and I'm the soul. That is the greatest miracle, because normally Gyanis have to keep on telling, I am that, reminding, read Vedanta Sutra, I'm not this, I'm not this, all that they have to do. So much trouble. And here we don't even know what is what. Simply you eat prasadam, simply you sing and dance, and you get a higher taste, spiritual happiness. Oh, then you make sense. I'm not this body, I'm a soul. Then we are ready to live a spiritual life. That's the greatest miracle. How many people are able to do that? So, okay. Now let me get Madhya 12.
Okay, man.
The exact continuation I'll do in the next class, because here the 12 I'll have to go look down and take me time sometime. So just another few minutes left. So I'll just Lord travels to Vrindavana.
12th chapter, that one, Mandi?
Pardon?
12th chapter is cleansing the
No.
Gundi chapter. But
Gundicha.
yeah, 12th chapter is that one.
20. No, 12th we have to do.
Yeah, 12th I am saying. Chapter 12 is cleansing the Gundi chapter.
Oh, okay. Because I had taken the book. Chapter 12, cleansing of the Gundicha temple.
The beautiful pastime of Pratap Rudra lies in this chapter.
Pardon?
The beautiful chapter, the pastime of Pratap Rudra Maharaj is in this chapter.
Yes. Okay. Sri Gundicha Marjanam Atma Vrindai Samarjayan Shalanta Sa Gaura Swachittavat Chitalam Ujvalam Cha Krishnopavesau Vaikam Chakara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleansed the Gundicha temple with his devotees and associates. In this way, he made the temple as cool and bright as his own heart, and thus he made the place befitting for Lord Sri Krishna to sit. So it was an amazing pastime.
This is the Phalastudi Mataji, this one which you read? The one you read is Phalastudi?
No, Prabhu. Text 1.
Oh, text 1. Okay, sorry.
He washed and cleansed the Gundicha temple with his devotees and associates. So Gundicha temple is where the Rath is taken, and Jagannath was there before the Ulta Rath. He was staying in Gundicha temple, and it's only used once a year. So rest of the time there is no deity there, and it's kept like just like that. So they have to really cleanse it very nicely for Jagannath to come. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu connected the external service, external cleanliness for the sake of Krishna to be connected with the internal cleanliness, cleaning the heart also. Man, this is the amazing thing, miracle, that you clean something for Krishna externally and your heart inside also gets cleaned. Prabhupada used to. Prabhupada, used to always, any new devotee comes, they would be sent, go and wash pots in the kitchen. Because the more cleaning we do, physical cleaning, because pots are used for Krishna. And then, amazingly, it also cleanses the heart. That was the first thing that service given. So, Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Gaura Chandra, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Gana Shakti Deha Kari Yena Chaitanya Varnana. All glories to the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, headed by Srivas Thakura. I beg their power so that I can properly describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purve Dakshina Haite Prabhu Yabe Aila Tanre Milite Gajapati Utkanti Tahaila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from his South Indian tour, Maharaja Prataprudra, the king of Orissa, became very anxious to meet him. Kataka haite patri dhila sarva bhaumatani prabhura agnya haya yadi dekhi bari yai. The king sent a letter from his capital, Kataka, to Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, entreating him to obtain the Lord's permission so that he could go and see him. Replying to the king's letter, Bhattacharya wrote that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not given his permission. After this, the king wrote him another letter. In this letter, the king requested Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please appeal to all the devotees associated with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and submit this petition to them on my behalf. If all the devotees associated with the Lord are favorably disposed towards me, they can submit my petition at the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is the best way to approach the Lord, through his devotees. By the mercy of all the devotees, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Without his mercy, my kingdom does not appeal to me. If Gaurahari, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will not show mercy to me, I shall give up my kingdom, become a mendicant, and beg from door to door. When Bhattacharya received this letter, he became very anxious. He then took the letter and went to the devotees of the Lord. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya met with all the devotees and described the king's wishes. Then he presented the letter to all of them for inspection, because he had said, if they all are favorably disposed to me, then please let them appeal to the Lord for me. And otherwise, I'm going to give up my kingdom and become a mendicant. So upon reading the letter, everyone was astonished to see the King Prataprudra had so much devotion for the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Devotees gave their opinion and said, the Lord would never meet with the king. And if we requested him to do so, the Lord would surely feel unhappy. They knew that. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then said, we shall go once again to the Lord, but we shall not request him to meet the king. Rather, we shall simply describe the good behavior of the king. Having thus reached a decision, they all went to the palace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There, although ready to speak, they could not even utter a word in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were very scared to open mouth.
Did your voice went low or for me only?
No, there was a call coming, that's why.
Okay.
After they arrived at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's place, the Lord, seeing them, said, what have you all come here to say? I see that you want to say something, but you do not speak. What is the reason? Nityananda Prabhu then said, we want to tell you something. Although we cannot stay without speaking, we are still very much afraid to speak. Only Nityananda Prabhu had the guts to even say this much. Yeah. We want to submit before you something that may or may not be befitting. The matter is this. Unless he sees you, the king of Orissa will become a mendicant. Nityananda Prabhu continued, the king has decided to become a mendicant and accept the sign of a mendicant by wearing an ivory earring. He does not want to enjoy his kingdom without seeing the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I suppose mendicants wear, the sannyasis, they wear one earring. In India, there is a class of professional mendicants who are very much like the gypsies of Western countries. They know some magical art and mystical processes, and their business is to beg from door to door, sometimes pleading and sometimes threatening. Such mendicants are sometimes called yogis and sometimes khanafata yogis. The word khanafata refers to one who has put a hole in his ear to wear an earring made of ivory. Kanfata. Kanafata. Maharaja Prataprudra was so depressed by not getting to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he decided to become such a yogi. Ordinary men think that a yogi must have an ivory earring in his ear, but this is not the sign of a real yogi. Maharaja Prataprudra also thought that to become a mendicant yogi, one must wear such an earring. Teki bese mukha chandra nayana bhariya, dhariba se pada padma hridaye tuliya. Nityananda Prabhu continued. The king also expressed his desire to see the moon-like face of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his eyes' full satisfaction. He would like to raise the lotus feet of the Lord to his heart. Hearing all these statements, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was certainly softened, but externally he wished to speak some harsh words. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I can understand that you all desire to take me to Kataka to see the king. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is naturally the reservoir of all kindness. And as soon as he heard the statement made by the king, his heart immediately softened. Thus the Lord was ready to go to see the king even at Kataka. He did not even consider allowing the king to come from Kataka to Jagannath Puri to see him. It's significant that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so kind that he was ready to go see the king at Kataka. Apparently, it was never expected that the king wanted to see the Lord at his place, but by way of being externally harsh, the Lord indicated that if all the devotees so desired, he would go to Kataka to see the king. So you can see how Katak was the capital those days. I don't know when it changed to Bhuvaneshwar. So he was ready to go all the way from Jagannath Puri to Cuttack to see the king. But simply, externally, he was trying to be harsh. And he was saying that if you all wished, okay, then I will go. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, what to speak of spiritual advancement? All the people will blaspheme me. And what to speak of all the people? Damodara would chastise me. Damodar Pandit, who was always teaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, correcting him. So, I shall not meet the king at the request of all the devotees, but I shall do so if Damodara will give his permission. From the spiritual point of view, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to see materialistic people, especially a king who's always engaged in counting pounds, shillings, and pence. Indeed, the meeting between a sannyasi and a king is always considered abominable. A sannyasi is always subjected to public criticism, and a small fault on his part is taken seriously by the public. People actually expect a sannyasi to preach and not take part in any social or political matters. If a sannyasi is subject to public criticism, his preaching will not be fruitful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically wanted to avoid such criticism so that his preaching work would not be hampered. It so happened that while the Lord was talking to his disciples at that time, the devotee Damodara Pandita was present. This Damodara Pandita was a very faithful devotee and a staunch lover of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whenever there was anything that might touch or taint the character of the Lord, Damodara Pandita would immediately point it out, not even considering the exalted position of the Lord. It is sometimes said that fools rush in where angels dare not. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to point out Damodara Pandita's foolishness in coming forward to criticize the Lord. Thus, the Lord indirectly hinted that if Damodara Pandita would give him permission, he would go to see the king. There was a deep meaning in this statement, for it is a warning that Damodara should not dare criticize the Lord anymore, for it was not befitting his position as a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered the guide and spiritual master of all the devotees living with him. Damodara Pandita was one of them, and the Lord rendered Damodara Pandita a special favor by warning him to avoid criticizing him any further. A devotee or a disciple should never attempt to criticize the Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. So Damodara, he also loved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was a little foolish, and he thought that out of love for him, he can correct him. But that's wrong. We have to follow the proper etiquette. Everybody else were even afraid to say something about King Pratap Rudra. Only Nityananda Prabhu had the guts to even open them, say something about it. That too, very, very humbly, not, they just conveyed the message and so on. But Damodar Pandit was the only one who was always saying, no, how can a sannyasi do like this and so on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, if Damodar Pandit gives me permission, I will go, I will give. So, and it says a devotee or disciple should never attempt to criticize the Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. When we are a neophyte, we feel we know everything. And then we feel that we know better. That is our sign. In the sense, we have more faith in our own mind rather than the Lord. So sometimes such offenses take place. And Damodar Pandit also was foolishly doing that. But Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so merciful that he was giving him hints so that he will correct himself. So Krishna is always correcting us. Even, we don't know what is the correct standard and so on. He corrects us through devotees, corrects us through the guru, or personally, somehow somebody may say, or you just through in the book you're reading, so many things Krishna is teaching us all the time. so that we should only desire that I want to be a pure devotee. And Krishna's always doing that. So for everyone from the very beginning of Krishna consciousness, also Krishna is extra careful to see his devotee, that he, handles them with so much care so that he can get the shelter of the Guru. After he gets the shelter of the Guru, then he relaxes a bit, because now he puts the Guru in charge to take care of the devotee. And the Guru is wanting to take the devotee and give him the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So that is how Guru and Krishna together, they are together in this. And what to do when. So that is why we should never criticize the Guru or Krishna, because sometimes we may not be able to understand. It's difficult to understand pure devotees, very difficult. And so we should not think that we know we shouldn't trust our mind so much, because spiritual truths require a lot of realization, and Guru is very realized person, and why he does what only he knows. So that's why we should not. This Damodar Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given an example, has taught us using his own disciples as examples. And so in this case, even this, how to not to behave with a Guru, he have made Damodar Pandit behave like that. Every instance is simply for our education. Okay. I will stop now. And if there are any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandit Pranam Prabhu.
Mataji, one thing, in the earlier, also, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri, then he went to South India, and this is probably subsequent visit, is it not? Maybe.
So when he came back from the South India tour, after that.
Okay. On the return. Okay.
Yeah.
Because while going also, he went there, I think.
No, Prabhu, actually, after Sannyas order 24th year, he came to Jagannath Puri, and then he spent 2 years in South India. No, Mataji? The whole trip is 2 years, I think.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking.
Oh. I can hear. We can hear.
Okay. I think almost 2 years he spent in South India trip. And the rest of the life, he was in Chaitanya, he was Jagannath Puri only. That means 22 years. In that 22 years, last 6 years was completely different. Yes, no, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Before that,
but he was traveling. See, the first 6 years, he was traveling to Vrindavan also 2-3 times he went. After that, the last 18 years, he didn't travel. Yeah.
He didn't travel. Last 18 years
he was traveling.
But every time, wherever he go, come back to Jagannath Puri and stay there. But last 18 years, he didn't go anywhere. Mataji, in modern days, Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, they use mic, Mataji, or no? Because the 32 cymbals, 8 mridangas.
I don't know. I've not been to Jagannath Puri, but maybe they use mic. I don't know, because this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and at that time they didn't have mic.
No, that time okay. Now modern day also maybe, because why I'm asking this,
I've not gone for Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. I don't know. Probably they use, no?
Yeah.
How otherwise, we don't have so many devotee singers and all, and so many.
And also lakhs of devotees.
Yeah.
Why I'm asking, I went to Jaipur to Radha Govind Mandir. In the morning, Mangalarti, no one was there, and Pujari were ready. All of a sudden, 10, 15 devotees, 50, 100, 200, like this, 300, 400 people. Just in 5 minutes, where from these devotees came, the whole village assembled about 400 devotees. And in that temple, I have not seen any mic. One devotee is laid the kirtan, whole, it is in a palace, no? So it's echoes. By hearing it, it was so amazing. And I was thinking, this is how in Mahaprabhu's time would be, because when so many devotees come, it will be roaring like anything. So that kind of experience I got there. Mataji,
Which temple? Radha Govindji. The Jaipur temple, the palace.
Palace.
Yeah, I've been there also. Beautiful.
If you see Mangalarti, it was so wonderful. And you were mentioning about Srila Prabhupada's the crying, which was in Damodara book. You said Damodara book. Which Damodara? Who wrote this book, Mataji?
Radha Damodara. That was written, it is about two devotees. Wait, I have that book, I'll tell you. Jayananda Prabhu and this one, what's his name? Vishnu Jana Swami. And it was written by Rupa Vilas Prabhu.
Rupanuga Das Prabhu.
You should read that, Prabhu. Amazing book.
Who wrote that book, Mataji?
Rupa Vilasa.
Rupa Vilasa Prabhu. Okay. About
you can order it. It's really worth reading. Amazing book.
Here we cannot order. When I go India, I'll do that.
I don't know if it's available in India. We ordered from America only when we.
Oh, okay. So
you can check on the net if it's available in India. I've not seen. Maybe it's available now.
No, I am in
maybe
Vrindavan. I have Middle East. I don't know. I'll check.
Maybe it's available in Vrindavan. Because in Vrindavan, all books are available.
Yeah, what's the name of the book, Mataji? Radha Damodara. Title of the book?
Yes, Radha Damodara. That was the bus party, no?
Yeah. Radha Damodara. By Rupa Vilasa, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. So wonderful class. Amazing. We are getting into the pastimes of so wonderful Pradapatra Maharaj and Rathayatra, the Gundija temple. You said that cleaning anything outside makes the cleaning of inside. So really amazing. That's a wonderful thing. Hare Krishna, devotees, any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, it was a very beautiful class, Mataji. Although I was not able to attend the whole class, I returned from a tuition, Mataji. But I heard about Padavavindra Prabhu and then Damodara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mataji, can you hear me?
Pardon?
Mataji, can you hear me? Mataji? The voice is listening.
Yeah, we can hear. We can hear you.
Yes, Mataji, it was a very beautiful class. That's what I want to say.
Okay,
Mataji,
thank
I have one question.
you. Yeah, 30. Yeah, yes, I am.
Mataji, does coriander come under green leafy vegetable?
Come under what? Come under what?
Green leafy vegetable?
No. You can have coriander leaves.
Yes,
because it comes under spice. It doesn't come under vegetable.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mother. You're frozen.
Am I frozen?
No, I can see.
Okay, Mataji, maybe you have some network issues. So, okay, Mataji, we'll wind up in a.
Yeah. Yes, bro.
Vancha kalpatarupascha.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Sanjay.
Hare Krishna,
Jai Baba.
Prema Padmini Mataji ki jai.
Hey, Jai.
Jai.
Okay, we'll meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna.